In an interview, CD Projekt Red's vice president of PR said that the studio needs to fix its relationship with players, leading to, ironically, backlash from players. Because, among other things, this supposed public relations specialist also said that when Cyberpunk 2077 launched, it was way better than it was received, but it became cool to hate on it. Because I guess the best way to fix a broken relationship is gaslighting?
You're imagining things, Linus.
I'm Linus, this is GameLinked, and this is why CD Projekt Red needs a new PR team, because unfortunately for them, the internet exists and never forgets. Not only did Sony pull the game from the PlayStation Store, but the game's disastrous launch was covered by German TV news. The PR exec also said that work-life balance at CDPR is really important to them. We're just not sure who them is. Management or the people who work there? I mean, don't forget the reports of the year-long crunch during The Witcher 3 development, or the time they had to publicly address scathing Glassdoor reviews, or the time they promised more humane working conditions on Cyberpunk 2077. Twice, only to break that promise just over a year later. I mean, if humane is the bar. Fortunately, it seems the company now has an entire team that is dedicated to improving working conditions, so we can believe them this time? I mean, it's like the saying goes, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, I trust you completely forever. The original Red Dead Redemption may be getting a remaster based on a leaked rating from South Korea's Media Ratings Board. A rating dated this month lists the game's name, and the applicant is listed as Take-Two Interactive, the company that owns Rockstar Games. I mean, sure, it might be possible that someone is trying to prank the entire country of South Korea, but there's also a reason to believe this might be legit. Because if I was to make a tier list of boards that were able to keep a secret, I would list the Korean Media Ratings Board below a Times Square billboard.
And that billboard's throwing pennies at the populace.
Just this year, the same ratings board leaked the League of Legends spin-off game Mage Seeker, and in 2016, they were insulted by a Tekken 7 producer for leaking details of that game. And their leaks aren't always even limited to video games. In 2018, they leaked plot details for the then upcoming Black Mirror special Bandersnatch. Hopefully this isn't a hoax, since this is something fans have been waiting for a long time. In fact, a fan-made trailer for a Red Dead Redemption remake got 1.2 million views on YouTube, which is like double the amount of people that watched me fail to guess the cost of a computer component last Wednesday. Really, you gotta go after that? Okay, that's how it is. And Microsoft had considered buying out over 100 game studios before settling on Activision Blizzard, according to legal filings during the ongoing FTC lawsuit. Imagine being legally required to admit that you were rejected that many times. Wow, like if you had to engrave all the dates you'd ever been on when you finally get your wedding band. Not only did Microsoft try to reacquire Bungie, they also seriously considered buying Sega and had planned on continuing multi-platform support for any future Sega games had the deal gone through. The proposed strategy actually kind of makes sense based on their claimed plans for Activision, but is more confusing when you factor in how Microsoft has handled Bethesda's properties. It even confused Bethesda executive Pete Hines, who emailed his team to say that Microsoft's Call of Duty plans appeared to be the opposite of what Bethesda was asked to do. Why does Activision get to see other people? Does this mean nothing?
Hindsight's 2020.
Hines also implied that along with Starfield, Elder Scrolls 6 will be Xbox exclusive, though that doesn't seem to concern Sony based on PlayStation boss Jim Ryan's recent testimony. He actually admitted that although he doesn't personally like Starfield's exclusivity, it isn't anti-competitive. But then he also said he doesn't trust that Microsoft will keep Call of Duty multi-platform, despite saying so in an email last year. But then Ryan claims he had an email exchange with Phil Spencer later on that changed his mind. I mean, we don't know what was said in those emails. Maybe it was as simple as Jim Ryan figuring out that Phil Spencer was everyone's favorite gaming executive with 2 first names, and he just got mad. Now it's time for the Bit Quiz, brought to you by Shopify, the comprehensive, easy-to-use commerce platform that's trusted by millions of businesses all around the world, both real and fictional. fictional businesses. Oh, how do you think the spaceship company in your favorite space game sells shirts with pictures of spaceships on them? The game wiki says that it's Shopify. Oh, that makes sense. Now that's a real business, just fictional spaceships. Anyway, the point is, Shopify allows anyone to start, grow, and manage a business regardless of technical ability or XP gained. We like Shopify so much, we use it to power LTTstore.com. So head over to shopify.com/gamelinked or use the link below to check it out. Linus, I know you won't read out this intro, so here's some ideas for things you can say other than, quiggle biddies. Ooh, I like it. Cave bats? Nintendo President Shintaro Furukawa gave some hints as to what we can expect from the company's next console during an investor Q&A. Unfortunately, his answers were so vague, it was almost like he was speaking another language. Furukawa did say that the Switch's successor would carry over the user's current Nintendo account, but was less clear when asked about backwards compatibility with current Switch games. He then revealed that the company has future plans to deal with console scalpers, but the plan was basically to have more stock while considering other possible measures.
Strike teams?
I think Nintendo should just stick to what they're best at when dealing with scalpers. Suing them. Esports and entertainment publisher Gamurs with a U recently posted a job ad for an AI editor after laying off approximately 40% of their staff. The ad suggests that the AI editor will work closely with the editorial and SEO teams in churning out, 250 articles per week at about $4.20 an article. I'm not sure if that's a weed joke. Gamurs controls over a dozen different gaming publications and recently acquired both Destructoid and The Escapist. It's unclear at this time if this will affect popular content like The Escapist's caustic gaming review channel Zero Punctuation, but if it doesn't, probably it's only because current AI technology lacks a virtuoso's grasp on profanity and cynicism.
We'll get there.
During the most important cutscene in Destiny's 9-year history, Bungie plagiarized the work of one of their fans, boldly demonstrating that you don't need to use AI to steal art.
Humans can do it too!
Wow. Apparently, an external vendor that helped animate the cutscene assumed that the fan's art was official Bungie artwork, which is both a tremendous compliment and a terrible excuse. I mean, wait, did they just search for Destiny art on Pinterest? Star Wars: The Old Republic, the MMO that gave us what many would call objectively better Star Wars than the sequels and a better love story than Twilight, is under new management. BioWare needs to make sure that its upcoming Dragon Age and Mass Effect games don't inspire memes about their characters only being capable of 3 facial expressions, so it's moving most of the Old Republic dev team over to fellow EA-owned studio Broadsword. They're the studio famous for keeping aging MMOs like Ultima Online on life support, so it's great news overall for gamers who like playing the same game forever, and less great news for fans of those Star Wars shorts.
They're called cinematics.
And the smash hit hiding and lying game Among Us is getting an animated series produced by CBS Studios, as confirmed by the game's developer Inner Sloth. Details about plot or characters are still unclear, but if it's true to the game, there will almost certainly be gangs of 12-year-old astronauts ejecting their crewmates into space for the crime of earnestly just trying to fix the bloody ship. I mean, someone has to. The showrunner of Among Us is Owen Dennis, creator of Cartoon Network's Infinity Train, so this should be exciting news for fans of that show and gamers who still find themselves whispering Among Us in their sleep. And you better not sleep on Tuesday's episode of Gamelinked, because that's when it's coming out. Tuesday. Yeah, this is all very new and confusing for me.
Strange. Where are you?
Yeah, where am I?
I'm
Where
a
are you?
disembodied voice.